will do roll call. Councilor Manzer.
Here.
Councilor Schneider.
Here.
Councilor Ross. Here. Deputy Warden Ross.
Here.
Executive Assistant Taylor. CAO Tyler. Manager of New Corporate Services. Corley, it just was gone from my Corley when I got thinking, which one is it? Which one is it? And myself, the warden. I'd like us all to keep the positive guidance, and then Councilor Ross will do the mission statement. Councilor Ross?
And mission statement for the municipality is to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all.
Thank you very much. At this point, is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, would someone like to approve the agenda as presented?
A motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. Next, we have some delegations and presentations. The first is Hugh McKay, Rural Communities Foundation. Could I have someone move for him to come forward, please?
Motion that Mr. Hugh McKay, Rural Communities Foundation.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. Would you please turn on your mic?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Warden, councilors, staff, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today on the Rural Communities Foundation of Nova Scotia. So, Taylor, will you be adjusting? How do I? Oh, Cora, okay, thank you. You can go to the next slide, please. I'll just go through briefly who we are and what we do. I'm going to talk a little more in detail about the Dave Gunning Zero Hunger Fund. We have an ask for consideration, and I'm going to be delighted to take any questions and address those. So we are one of about 200 community foundations across the country. There are a couple others here in Nova Scotia. There's the large one, the Community Foundation of Nova Scotia. There's a Mi'kma'ki one. There's another one in Halifax. But as our name denotes, we are a rural communities foundation. So our focus is not so much on HRM or CBRM, but on the rural aspects or areas of the province. We've been around for more than 20 years now. Primarily what we do is assist community organizations in raising funds and then providing grants to them to carry out their mission or the works that they're doing in the community. We are a federally registered charity. Our foundation, as such, we can give tax receipts and all that good stuff, but it also makes us responsible to our, to CRA, of course, but to our donors, to our grantees, and so forth, and to the community at large. We don't operate in a silo. We are a member of the Canadian, the Community Foundations of Canada, the Nova Scotia Not-for-Profit Coalition, and several others. So typically what happens is a local organization will come to us and say, we've got an initiative going on that we need some help with in a part of rural Nova Scotia. It could be all over the province, or it could be in a specific area. And we look to see if that's in our wheelhouse and whether we can help them out. And based on that, we'll consider working with them. So as I said, we do fundraising for grants, and I'll do a little bit more of that in a moment. Tax deductions, but we also administer trust funds on behalf of individuals and organizations. And these are some of our current projects, and you can actually go to our website and get a bit more information on these. Ukrainian Nova Scotia Resettlement Fund has been helping some of the Ukrainian refugees, but whatever we will call them, just up the road here a ways. But we've been helping. This is something that's flow-through money from the Ukrainian Canada Foundation, where they have given out funds to community organizations around the country, across the country. We're administering the one here in Nova Scotia. The Joan Flyman Climate Change Fund is a matching funds program where a community organization has an idea that they would like to follow through on as far as climate remediation, climate action, what have you. It's named after Joan Flyman, who was a noted American astrophysicist with deep family roots back in Nova Scotia. And her family set up this fund to commemorate her as she passed away a couple of years ago. It's, as I said, matching funds up to, I think, $5,000, and it has just opened in this month. I think the applications close in April. Housing for Health is an interesting one. We sometimes get bequeaths of property, and typically what we've done with that property is just sold it at market value and put the proceeds into our own operating funds. But with the many issues that we have, of course, in rural Nova Scotia, housing being one of them, we've decided to implement a program that if we get a property that has suitable housing, that we would offer that up for short-term residency by medical practitioners. These could be lab techs, they could be doctors, nurses, what have you. And it's not meant to provide permanent housing, but just as a temporary solution while they get settled in the community. The Soaring Eagle Fine Arts Grant, this is something to support young Indigenous LGBTQ artists who are trying to make their way in their field. We also run community impact conferences. Last year we did one up in Member 2 that was focused on climate action. A number of municipalities gave presentations on the work that they're doing. Perhaps some of you were there. There'll be another, the Community Foundation of Canada is holding a meeting in Halifax in May, which will be bringing together a lot of foundations from across the country to talk about these different issues. But I'd like to talk about the Dave Dunning Zero Hunger Fund. Some of you may be familiar with Dave. He's a noted Nova Scotian musician, performs everything from Celtic Colors and Stanfest to the King's Theatre in Annapolis and points in between. This was originally going to be called the Bruce Guthrie Fund, but with Bruce's untimely passing, before he became too ill, he had asked his good friend Dave if he would lend his name to the program. And Dave has done more than just lend his name to the program. He's been a tremendous ambassador for the program. He talks about it at every single concert that he does, and we always know when he's done a concert because we get a flurry of donations coming in the next day. So what does the fund do? Well, it supports what are called free stores in schools. Sometimes they're called backpack programs. Sometimes they're called pantries, different names. But the idea is that the free store, unlike the in-school breakfast and lunch programs, this is for providing supplies for kids to take home and share with their families. Because teachers, school staff can identify kids who are coming to school now with not proper nutrition at home. And so the idea is to give them some nutritional supplies that they can then take home and share with their families. So we embarked on the program last year with the goal of raising $100,000. And we were fortunate that we did raise that money. And in December, we distributed a total of $100,000 in grants to 36 schools right across the province, including these two here in Digby County, which each received $3,500. And so in 2025, well, I should say first, we provided grants to 36 schools. We had applications from 80. This was a brand new program, very little knowledge about it. And the fact that 80 schools applied speaks to the depth of the program of food security in rural Nova Scotia and to our students. So because of that, that's why we decided to raise the goal and hopefully provide support for additional schools across the province. I should mention that last year, of the $100,000 that we received, or that we raised, we received $15,000 of that in municipal grants, and these were from 3 municipalities. We hadn't actually made much of an effort to approach municipalities last year, but Annapolis County, Antigonish County and the Municipality of the District of Lunenburg all supported the program, and we received $15,000. So you're the 17th municipal council I'm speaking to this year, because we want to apply for more community grants and see if that will help us on the way to our goal. And I should add that any grants that are made by municipalities go to schools in that municipality. We don't take funds from Yarmouth and spend it up in Glace Bay. The funds are spent in that municipality, in that jurisdiction. So what's my ask today? Well, it's primarily awareness. As I said, we're trying to raise $200,000. We're going to need public support for that. We're going to need corporate support for that. You folks are on the front lines of talking to the people in your communities, and if through your corporate website or through your individual websites as and social media as counselors that you wanted to mention this program, we would be very grateful, and I'd be pleased to provide additional information for you. And you can also always bring up the fact that we take donations and provide tax receipts for those. And consider us for a community grant. I guess I could put all these on one slide. And something that Dave has done, he did 2 concerts last year where the proceeds came directly to the fund. And so I mentioned at all my meetings that this is something of interest for us, doing a few more of. Dave's agreed to do a couple more this year. And we're looking for locations that, well, number one, we don't want to eat Dave's lunch. If he's doing too many concerts, we don't want to be taking away his own revenue. But he's been such a good guy doing this. He said he will do a couple. So we're looking at things like in Guysborough, for example. They have a brand new, fairly new performance facility that the municipality owns, and they're saying we'll make that available to you for a concert. So different things like that. It could be support through in-kind support for a concert, or just, again, raising awareness of the program. So that's the program in a quick nutshell, and I'd be delighted to take any questions that you may have.
Go ahead, Deputy Wolf.
So your foundation, if we did do a grant or something, or give money as donation to it, they would make sure that the funds would go back into the schools in Digby Municipality, Weymouth, the islands, in here in the town. 100%. Okay, so that's
If they apply.
If they
have to apply.
Well, that's where I was trying to go with. We've been asked in the past for these free lunches, and we have given money to the schools, and this is just maybe another angle we could go. And then when the schools ask, then we could put them towards you.
But you're right, they need to apply, and the applications will open after the beginning of the school year in September. Okay. We'll be doing evaluations so that we have a criteria for evaluating the applications that come in, and we'll award the grants in early December.
George, go ahead.
How do the students actually get through the school? Does somebody nominate them or suggest to the teachers to say, I think these kids need it? What's the how they go?
The students are typically almost always identified by the staff, typically teachers, but it might be other staff. And the one thing that we're very cognizant of is that kids can be tough on each other, and we don't want to put kids in a position of being shamed. So these free stores, they're established in something like a guidance counselor's office at the library, where a kid can be taken somewhat, without a lot of fanfare, and then given a backpack or a nondescript grocery bag with the supplies that they can then take home, share with their family.
Anyone else? I was going to say I've been in Weymouth and I've seen the free pantry, or as they call it, the pantry, I'm sure, down there. And I thought it was sort of cute. Couple of kids who got some food. They came in, they looked at me, and they said, "Would you like us to go get you something too? It's for anybody."
Yeah.
I said, "No, I'm fine." But I thought it wasn't landmarked that it's only for you. And that's what I like.
That's good.
This particular one, she kept coming back in off and on through the day. And I said, "Are you supposed to have someone with you?" Snap again. But
Well, we do get some different interpretation of the rules by some of the schools. Excuse me. Some of them have, although it wasn't our design, have used it almost for more like snack programs for kids in the schools, and that's not the intent of this program. But
no, but there was free sanitary napkins. There was
oh, good. Okay.
different
Yeah,
things
that's good.
out and about for people, for the staff, not staff, the kids, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought it was rather neat because to me it meant it wasn't being like over to the poor kids.
Yeah, that's good.
That's where I was coming from.
Okay.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Because no one, you're right, no one wants to say, "Oh, there's a poor kid.
Yeah.
Let's help George today. There's a poor kid. Well, let's help Joe today."
Yeah.
And the rest of you can feel really good about ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask too, is that how that's set up? I know that's how the free stores around here, they just, any kid can pick something up, because it does, it's the inclusion thing, right? You don't feel singled out.
And we're not a final solution. We're just one aspect of supporting. We're a complement to the local food banks and other programs. That the need is greater than all of our collective solutions, but at least we're trying to make a difference.
Is there any other questions? Oh, John, go ahead.
How does the venue typically would Dave kind of be looking for a concert?
He's been doing these concerts for free. From the proceeds, we subtract any technical audio visual equipment that he might have needed. In some cases, the venue has that sort of equipment, so it's not taking away from the funds. But that's why we'll probably do no more than 2 with Dave, because, as I said, we don't want to eat his lunch. He's got to put food on the plate for his own family. The fact that his wife is a teacher and is very well aware of the issue for rural food security for students, and I think that's why he's been so dedicated to this program.
Anything else? I want to thank you for giving us your time and for doing the presentation, and we do appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. It's much appreciated.
We are going into budget coming right up, and we'll be looked at that point.
Thank you.
And if you wish to stay and listen to our council meeting, you're very welcome to.
I just drove down from Antigonish. So
You're driving right back?
And we're going back. No, we're not going all the way to Antigonish, but we're going to go visit my brother up in Halifax.
Good luck.
And I should add, it was a real pleasure to reacquaint myself with Joan after a few decades, because we were in high school together.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
The next is Nancy Ollie from the Digby area. Excuse me, community navigator. Someone move her to come forward, please.
I'll motion that the Digby area community navigator.
Is all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Go ahead, Nancy, please.
Warden Gregory, council members and staff, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I started this position at the end of November 2022, and the first order of business was to apply for the Office of Healthcare Professionals Recruitment Community Fund, which we successfully acquired that year and again in 2024. We recently applied for this fund a third time and are awaiting approval. Some projects that have been accomplished through this fund are branding established for Digby area healthcare engagement, a new website, social media accounts created, a fantastic recruitment video, which is the first thing you see when you open up the website, digbyareahealth.ca. Facility walkthrough videos, healthcare student care packages, healthcare retention survey, and much more. I've made many connections in various organizations: Nova Scotia Health, Doctors Nova Scotia, Dalhousie Medical School, Western Regional Enterprise Network, WireReach, Nova Scotia Labor Skills and Immigration, Nova Scotia Works, Digby Area Learning Association, ISANS, school representatives, and many more. I have monthly meetings with MLA Jill Balser, monthly check-ins with Rebecca Cassidy, the Nova Scotia Health Physician Recruitment Consultant, monthly provincial navigator meetings. I've attended the Rural and Remote Medicine Conference in Niagara Falls, mini Rural and Remote Medicine Conference in Charlottetown this past November, and Dr. Arsenault joined me. A CASPR, Canadian Society of Physician Recruitment Conferences for Professional Development. CASPR also hosted 2 events overseas this past fall, which Dr. Ashley McCormick and I attended. The first event in Dublin was for Canadian medical students who are studying medicine in Ireland. The second event was held in Manchester and was targeted for physicians possibly interested in relocating to Canada. We've made some contacts from both of these events, but nothing has fully transpired as yet. I have annual one-on-one check-ins with the local physicians and nurse practitioners. I've hosted the Dalhousie Family Medicine Interest Group in April 2023 and am doing so again in this April. We've hosted first-year medical students for Rural Week, as well as several medical students for their electives and clerkships. This continues to grow, which is very encouraging. I've taken a workshop on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and completed the Welcome Ambassador training through ISANS. I've made connections with local rental property owners and created a database of housing options. Established connections with local students who are currently studying in the healthcare field or interested in. Annually attend the Dalhousie Family Medicine Resident Education Weekend Job Fair. Have done community presentations for the Practice Ready Assessment Program cohort. Joined the local Immigration Partnership Council with REN. I delivered gifts and treats in recognition of our healthcare professionals throughout the year. Hosted many events such as bowling night, movie nights, pizza party, ice cream parties, an appreciation event, newcomer meet and greets, multicultural celebration, skating party, climbing wall, paint night, drumming, and a healthcare-focused career fair for the local high school students, which was held again this March. We plan to make this an annual event and is very well received by both students and healthcare exhibitors. The Community Navigator Group was added to the agenda of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia's Welcome Collaborative, which supports physicians new to Nova Scotia. We are able to promote the things we do to help newcomers get settled, as well as hear any concerns, feedback that they may have. The foundation has acquired a second apartment, which has assisted in accommodating locum physicians, and nurse practitioners and medical students. Overall, we have helped welcomed and helped settle 7 doctors, 2 nurse practitioners, and several other healthcare professionals. Some things that are coming up. Dr. McCormick and I are attending the ICEM 2025, which is the International Conference of Emergency Medicine in Montreal in May. We're very excited for this opportunity. I'm working with Kim Charles, Site Lead, Health Services Manager at Digby General Hospital on recruiting and settling nurses. A big portion of the community fund ask this year was for a healthcare anti-racism campaign. We're hopeful it will be approved as it needs to be addressed. The past couple of years have been a time of learning and networking. I think we have already come a long way with why this position was established, but need to keep at it. I'm excited to be part of the solution of what the future holds for healthcare in Digby and the surrounding areas. Thank you.
Is there any questions? Deputy Warden, and then George, and then Pete.
First of all, thank you. You're doing an excellent job. Just wanted to know, like, I don't know, have we got anything going on with the emergency services? Is there?
Yeah, so that's why Dr. McCormick and I are going to attend this conference, because it's an international conference, so they're expecting between 2,000 and 3,000 emergency personnel. Other than Canadian, they expect that Americans will be the second largest group there, so we're hoping maybe the timing is right.
Yeah. Hopefully we can have somebody. Is there any way,
And
if you do, is like, what's to like have internship or anything?
So Nova Scotia Health will be there as well, and I'm excited because the locum recruiter is the one that's going this time around. So I think realistically, that's probably where we'd be able to start, is offering them to come as a locum and see what Digby is like and has to offer, and then hopefully, get it.
And the other question I had is, I know you got a couple that moved to the area. So any more attachments or coming or?
Nothing. So primary care is actually doing pretty good right now. So I mean, we always continue. I had a meeting with Rebecca Cassidy this morning and just said, I know that it's stable, but let's make sure we don't lose track.
Well, that's it, because some of those contracts come up in another year or two.
Exactly.
And we don't want to be down to 3.
And that's what I said to her. Like, we don't want to go backwards.
Keep it going, and hopefully a couple more will stick. And then when you get to that level, you're at that level.
And that's also why we're trying to. I'm trying to get residents, like some residents have been coming up and doing ED shifts. But I'm just hoping, I'm also going to do a trivia pizza night with them so they can meet more of the local physicians, so that when they are deciding where they're going, maybe Digby might be on their list. So yeah, it's definitely, this group of residents has definitely been the most interactive and engaged with Digby than in past years. So that's encouraging.
That's good.
Yeah.
George? Yeah, a couple things. While in Ireland, I think, did you any possibility there anybody interested in doing that?
So the first day was the Canadian medical student, and it was start to finish talking to them. They're so excited they want to come back, but there's just a lot of obstacles to that, and not any that we can assist with. So we may hear from them, because a lot of them weren't picking electives until like this coming summer and onwards. So we still may hear from some of those students, but it's really difficult for them to get back into Canada into a residency program. Once they become a physician, then it's a lot easier, but trying to get them. And we did speak with a couple of physicians in Manchester, and one of them has been in contact with Nova Scotia Health, but there's nothing concrete that they're coming for a site visit.
Well, from having a couple doctors to having 7 now, practical nurses, somebody will be doing a good job.
Peter?
Yeah, so I'd like to second that and thanking you for the work you're doing. My question is more related to so you have been in contact with a lot of these physicians, and like your sample there is pretty big, right? So if you were to narrow down to the features of our value proposition here that attracts these people the most to stay, what would they be? And conversely, what would be the characteristics of the physicians who end up staying here that we managed to attract successfully?
So far, I mean, one of the physicians that's come, his spouse is from here. So anyone that has ties to the area is definitely more apt to stay. But like we've just been trying to, help integrate them in the community and hoping that this is the lifestyle that they're looking for. It not always is, so we have to appreciate that. It's difficult because, all of Nova Scotia is beautiful and has the beaches and the water. And so so we rely a lot on our scallops and lobster as an incentive. But it's just basically the lifestyle. If they're looking for something that, we're only 2 hours from Halifax. It's really not, huge. But if they're looking for that more relaxed lifestyle, which sometimes they don't know that they are. Like if they get here, it's either they're just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm looking for, or it's like, no, it's too small for me. So right now, basically, most of the physicians we have are from the Practice Ready Assessment Program, so they have return of service, 3-year return of service. So none of those are up yet. So we're still kind of working through whether.
Yeah, so actually a continuation of this would be then, do you have a sense of what are the features that put off, the ones that don't stay?
I would say schooling, like some of the newcomers that have come, education is, front foremost importance to them. So not having private school, Christian school, things like that. So I think having just the public schooling. But I mean, we do offer the French immersion, so that's a bonus as well. And maybe just the convenience of things that they're used to. I mean, more and more we're getting. I just saw a notification the other day that there's African grocery store now in Yarmouth, so it's a little bit closer. The more and more population you have, you're more able to do that. So, at the same time, it has to be understood that we can only, I find the grocery stores here have done a great job at, incorporating food from other countries. Yeah.
Okay. Joan, go ahead.
In conjunction with everybody else here, you are doing an amazing job. Two things. In looking at HR and who we have in right now, who's up there to be my background, has there also been considerations looking at recruiting some of the other professions, knowing that many of the ones that are in the area are probably getting close to retirement or leaving?
So this has kind of been a little bit of a struggle because the physician recruitment team and model is it's there and it's solid and they just keep adding to it. Excuse me. I just find for other professions that isn't there. It's kind of grouped into all recruitment. So I do keep in contact with luckily when I worked there for so long, I know a lot of the managers and stuff. So I've spoken with them and tried to let them know like what I'm here and what I can do to help.
In particular, I ask because Ireland trains very well.
Yeah.
And they get in usually in the country and with jobs very quickly. But just thinking, when you're doing those visits, those are great opportunities to reach out.
Yep, that's a good point. No, that's a good point.
And my other question is really around retention, because I know it's an issue for the whole province. Once the contracts are out, many places are moving on, and if there was something specific we could be looking at here to improve retention, then I think we need to be working towards that. So.
I don't think there's anything that it just varies. The needs vary for different people. But I mean, I hear a lot of positives. Sometimes it's just a personal thing, or if their family isn't here, and or if they're from, they're used to a city, and this might have been just a foot in the door for them to, if they really wanted to be in the city. So sometimes, but I mean, we do what we can, and I think our staff at the hospital and at the nursing home, they do a lot of stuff themselves outside of work. I think they're very welcoming, so that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Nancy, you said you've got a second location. Is that in township?
Yeah.
Okay. And the anti-racism.
Yes.
Is that for you?
It's for healthcare professionals.
Oh, it's for all of us.
Yes.
Oh.
There's been a few instances where it's happened, so we just want to kind of.
In healthcare? Really? I'm going to put my ears to the ground better, I guess. What can I say? I like the job you're doing. I guess that mine's more personal because I see the direct results from my job. You get doctors, you get orders. You get orders, you get patients. You get patients, you get work. sounds weird, but it's the way it works.
Mhm.
And I think people, the only concern I'm hearing is the ER, the closures to the ER. That's over the most of everybody. You know, and you can't change that, and I know you can't, but I know you're working towards it. And I guess what I feel, I know that you send us a report, which we really appreciate, and I know I read, and I'm sure all the other counselors do. But is there a way to let public, not in the detail you gave us, but the public know there are stuff, I mean, like, well, whether it's be trying to paint and everyone can laugh at my pictures to whatever, but it actually helps us socialize within ourselves, because sometimes we don't. We go to work and we want to go home. And I think those are good things. But I'm wondering if there's a way just to have it out there a little bit.
I guess, like, currently, I'm reliant on social media, of course. I have the Digby Area Health Instagram and Facebook, so I do post things on there.
Okay.
Try not to overdo it, because I don't want people to feel like I'm using them, or, you know. But it's always to acknowledge them and make them feel appreciated.
Like, I know there's a little newsletter that's done at the hospital. Maybe, you know, you would put something in it once in a while, that patients see, patients' family gets to see.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's between you and Charlotte, but I mean, it's, I find that, I mean, it's for the patients, but I mean, we all like to read it. So it shows you there's something going on there. Yeah. And it's not a long thing, it's just a little paper. So, again, I want to thank you for coming. Does anyone else have any other questions? I also want to thank the foundation for coming in. Linda. Great. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. You can stay as well if you want.
So stay.
Been there, done that.
The next is the minutes of February 25th, 2025. Did anyone see any errors or omissions with those minutes?
A motion to approve the minutes of February 25th, 2025.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. CAO report. The meeting reminders, April the 1st, 3 o'clock. Bylaw and policy, and that's probably going to go to at least 7 o'clock that night. At least. We will have supper provided. April the 8th, we have committee of the whole. April the 15th, we have your audit committee. April 22nd at 5 p.m. is the council. April 24th at 4:30 p.m. is the joint council meeting with both councils. April 29th, there is no meeting. And May 6th at 5 p.m. is the public works, and at 6 p.m. is the bylaw and policy.
Joint council, what time?
That's at 4:30. Because at 7 o'clock we have, trying to come up with how to say that. Is there any questions or concerns? Okay, we have updates from the previous council with the action items. If anyone has any questions or concerns on those. And of course, our capital projects, which were approved in June of last year, and we'll be doing our new ones. Any questions? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Just in follow-up, the housing coalition, or not the housing coalition, the tourism association, that only meets quarterly.
Oh, okay.
They did get back to you to inform you that they don't meet quarterly. So the AGM will be their next meeting after the Christmas meeting.
Oh, okay. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. Hadn't heard anything though. The financial report was sent out for February 2025. Has anyone had any questions or concerns or comments? If not, should I go on to the standing committees? The first one is the Digby Fire Inventory Report. Should I have someone move that we accept this from the bylaw and policy recommendation?
I move the council accept the Digby Fire Services Inventory Report.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is for our fire services coordinator.
I'll move the council write a letter to.
No, that's not right.
There's one before that.
No.
You could go to the bylaw and policy recommendation.
Let's go through that whole fire thing.
Yes, there.
I'll move the council extend Bruce Schnell's role as fire services coordinator for one more year until March 31st.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carries. The next is the low income tax exemption amounts and income level.
I'll move the council increase the 2025-26 low income tax exemption income level by $1,000 per category.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carries. The next is the King's Transit budget.
I'll move the council approve the King's Transit budget of $424,907 with a deficit of $21,918.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the IT contract.
I move that council approve the IT contract with NCR Networks Incorporated as presented.
Is there a seconder? Is there a seconder? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm going, oh gosh. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the anti-racism and equality draft plan.
I move the council approve the municipality and Digby equity and anti-racism plan as presented.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is a letter of support for the Smith Cove Fire Department.
I'll move that the council write a letter of support for the Smiths Cove Fire Department and their efforts to obtain funding from the Sustainable Communities Challenge Fund.
Is there a seconder?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Excuse me. The third annual Ukrainian Easter event funding.
I move that council spend up to $100 on refreshments for the third annual Ukrainian Easter event.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next, a letter to Bell regarding fiber box at Clemson Fire Department.
I move that council write a letter to Bell National Incident Center to express concerns for the location of the fiber box at the Plimpton Fire Department, 7208 Highway 101, that impacts the road view and safety of those driving.
Do we have a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is a dark letter of support.
I'll move the council write letters to support Mark's application to co-host the 2026 hiking summit.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the 2025-2026 salary scale.
I'll move that council approve the salary scales for 2025-26 as presented.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the committee as a whole recommendations, provincial road winter maintenance standards.
I move that council write a letter to the Honorable Fred Tilley, Minister of the Department of Public Works, and copy Jill Balter, MLA for Digby Annapolis, indicating safety concerns for the winter maintenance standards.
Do we have a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the goal for kids, excuse me, stake event, the team registration.
I'll move the council register up to 2 teams in the amount of $1,000, $500 per team for the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Annapolis 2025 Bowl for Kids Sake event.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Under business items, capital budget approval.
Okay, so there's been a couple changes that Corey will go over, mostly with Derek again, but there is one I wanted to mention that some of you are already aware of. So we have budgeted money for Peters Island Lighthouse because we are contributing about 60,000 towards the renovation grant. The grant from Parks Canada was denied, so we're working on Plan B. So we're going to leave money in the budget. We will likely end up spending less this summer, but we're working with the community group on the Plan B. Got out of this summer for more than fall. So I'll let Corey take the road.
Okay, so the first ones I'm going to go over are just ones that we had internally here, and then I'll do the dark ones separately. Year one, we had replaced pump as needed. That was for Smith Code. We had it budgeted for 31,000, and we were changing it to 33,000. Barry had got in some quotes to make sure that these are a little bit more accurate. We had another pump replacement for Wayman, and we originally thought it would be 25,000, and that one's actually going to be 22,000. So I updated that. Concrete pad, we had 100,000. We did get a quote back for that. We changed it to 175. It's slightly less, but we might have a few more things that we were missing. So we thought 175 should cover that. Year two, that was all year one. Year two, the blower house roof. We had it for 20,000, and it actually came in at 10,000. So a bit of a savings there. With the dark changes, they had met, I think it was last week, and there was a couple things the board wanted to move around in that budget. So we have the removal of the washroom in year one for 53,000. We put that in year two. Addition of the compressor. That was a savings of 40,000, which we divided by 2. Addition of the brine pump motor that was in year two now goes in year one, and vice versa. We're taking that out and adding in year two the washroom that I spoke about before. So really, there's not a lot of dollar changes there. It's just mostly what's important from year to year.
And the only thing I'll add is the concrete pad. We won't know until we tender it out what it's actually going to cost. That's just the quote we received from the engineer who's developed the plan. So it's a complete unknown. We're obviously hoping to be a lot less.
Any questions or comments or concerns? Okay, so we're going to have the approval tonight. So if I could have someone move the acceptance of the capital budget for 25-26.
I'll motion to approve the capital budget for 2025-2026.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the solid waste collection contract.
The fire service registration.
Oh, sorry, fire service registration policy.
So essentially, under the MGA, fire departments are required to register with the municipality. We have found our records in that regard are slightly lacking, so we wanted to develop a policy similar to the policy other units like Yarmouth have. And now with Bruce in the role, we can get proper attention. We can get all 11 registered, and then we will keep proper records of it, and we can update those records annually. So this is just a policy. All the requirements listed are the same as what's required in the MGA, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
That was a good policy. I'll make a motion to adopt the fire service registry policy.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now it's the solid waste collection contract. Take it away.
So the solid waste collection contract. So it was a public opening, so that's why this isn't a camera item. This is just a regular agenda item. Essentially, as I said in my decision report, we had one bid. It was from our current provider, Digby Salvage and Disposal. The bid was for 5 years for $3,730,658.58. It's approximately $1 million more than the last 5-year contract, so it averages out to about 190 to 200,000 more per year. I will say, based on my communication with other units who have also recently had to retender this is one of the lesser increases that I've seen. Obviously, with fuel prices, employee costs, everything's gone way up in the last 5 years. So yeah, in my opinion, it was a reasonable increase, and I would recommend that we award it. But if you have any questions, again, feel free.
So we only received one proposal. Any chance we could attract more, some competition to it?
So we always get inquiries. I mean, last time we only had the one as well, but like, there's providers in the valley in Halifax that reach out with questions. Like this time, Halifax contractor reached out to me. They just haven't bid. They didn't bid last time. They didn't bid this time. But before that, we actually had 2 or 3 bids. Providers before that. I don't know why there wouldn't be interest. I mean, they would have to, typically what you see is they essentially have to end up taking over a local contractor and their equipment and infrastructure. But no, we haven't had any serious interest. I can't really explain why. Other units have had some bids. In the other unit I spoke to most recently, the Halifax bid they received was way higher dollar-wise. It was nowhere near close. Yeah, it's great to say. It's advertised on the provincial procurement website, which is what all these contractors use, so they monitor it.
It's for 3 years, right? So it's about average $600,000-$700,000.
Yeah, so it's a 5-year bid. I can break it down for you a little bit more if you want, because it does increase per year. So in the current year, and again, these are prices before HST, in our current year we're right now, we were at 592,000. So the next fiscal year, it's going up to 675, and then it increases after that 708, 744, 781, 820 in year 5. So again, it averages out to be about 190 to 200,000 per year. But that 5th year is obviously a lot higher than the first year.
So it's another 30% on the first year.
Give or take, yeah. And I will say too, so it's a very detailed contract that we execute with them, and we included a fuel benchmark amount. So basically, we set a benchmark amount. Last time we said $1.45, and that did not go well for us because of COVID and fuel prices going crazy. I changed the benchmark to $2.10, which I thought was a pretty high and good benchmark. So I think that gives us a lot of security. I guess it's possible the fuel prices go higher than that, but it should be rare over the next little bit. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a good bid.
I think looking at the proportion to the total budget, yearly budget, 600,000 is okay. It's a significant portion, but it's not tremendous. It's not the police. But what the only thing that concerns me is the fact that we only had one bid, and it's a bit of a, the bargaining power there. The other side's pretty high.
Yeah, and they're always, it's a fine line because they don't know they're going to be the only bidder. So every 5 years we have these similar conversations. They don't want to go too high just in case they're going to get a bid, but they also have fairly good knowledge of they're not going to be too much competition. So. But no, I found like in my 2 times doing this, the increase have been
some have gone over time and a half the amount of the last contracts that have come out. So the 100,000, the contractors were asking 150,000 or more, up to 175,000. I'm not talking about ours, I'm talking about around the province. Yeah, because the cost of everything and the price.
Yeah, ours was an increase of about 30%. So
which is really cheap compared to the other parts of the province.
Based on what I heard, it would not have surprised me that the price they used for the 5th year was the first year price. Like things have gone that high. Because I was very nervous going into this. I will say too, not to make you really overthink it, but if you put it all together, like our Queens contract, our tipping fees, our transfer station, and actually this is our biggest variable expense, it's the biggest expense we control. So our safety and education would be 1 and 2. This is likely number 3. Find it all together. The collection contract is just one part of it.
Okay, could I have a mover for the contract, please?
I'll move the solid waste collection contract. We awarded Digby salvage and disposal for the amount of $3,750,650.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Electric City, grant rollover request. That they're asking to move the $10,000 into a reserve and bring it forward to the 25-26 fiscal year for Electric City.
I'll move the council agree to move $10,000 of community grant funds into the reserve and bring it forward for the 2025-26 fiscal year.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next is the marketing levy funds.
I'll give you a little update on this one.
Okay.
So, just a little background here. Sorry, 2 months ago. This was introduced back in 2022, and the first year we only had a small amount of money come in. I think it was $300 and some or $500. So that year there was no plan for the money, so that went into basically just being held until the following year. Last year we had 20,000 collected, and what's been happening is so we have a bylaw, the same as the town of Digby, and then we have our committee that makes the decisions on how this money is going to get spent. The town of Digby has a pot of money, we have a pot of money, and it's not equal. They have a different amount of rooms that they would be collecting on compared to us. They have to hold reserve, we have to hold reserve. So this year it started to ramp up a little bit. The town of Digby was funding all of the requests during the year, and their pot ended up in a bit of a deficit position. So between the director of finance from the town and myself and our representative for our audit company, we've had some talks on what would be the best way to deal with these funds. We can't split it 50-50 or request because the money isn't coming in 50-50. One of us would have a lot of extra money, and the other will put it off. So the recommendation is to have the municipality forward all the funds to the town of Digby, and they would be held in a marketing levy reserve. They would be recognized on the financial statements of the town of Digby as a marketing levy reserve for the municipality in town. And then as the committee decides what's going to be funded, they would the request isn't going into the town anyways. We just skip the step that director of finance from the town has to kind of keep me in the loop and request money from time to time. So it seems like to us the easiest decision right now is to let them hold the funds. We would obviously collect it during the year, and then probably periodically give, I don't know, quarterly, I'm going to say, give that money to the town, and that way they can fund those requests and not have to take it out of their own funds. So there is a proposed motion there, but if you guys want to ask me any questions, please feel free.
I just have a question about the levy. Are they meeting quarterly or every month?
So we haven't met in a while, so we're actually down our 2 members. So we're currently advertising, we've had no applicants, but we have 4 of the 6 members. So Tom and I recommended that the committee actually meet next month or so, because we do have a quorum.
Okay. No, I just found it when I was reading this. There's $40,000 they have, and then we passed a motion a little while ago for tourism about the ad they put in. Just wondering, like, did that go to the levy? Like,
No, so they would have had the ability to ask for levy funds for that, but chose to ask us.
So there's another. That's what should have come out of.
Okie dokie. I'll pass this motion. I've just, question mark. I'll make a motion to bring forward all marketing levy funds collected by the municipality of the town of Digby to be held in the reserve to fund the requests of the MPLAC.
Okay, is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is write-off request of AAN number 01807323. And the poll was passed us. I can't see it. Yeah, go right ahead.
So this would have been one that Nicole noticed with PBSC, and there was a piece of land, or there was a fish shed on the tax sale, and she received notification that the fish shed does not exist. So because there isn't any land attached to this fish shed, we really have no recourse to collect the funds. And because it's so tiny, like if it had been something significant, we could have gone to collection agency or that type of thing. But when you're talking $42, the collection fees would be more than what the account is. But the MGA says we need to come to council about this kind of stuff, and we would just need a motion to write that off.
So, someone like to make that motion?
Motion to write that off.
Of AAN number 01807323. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next one is another write-off request for AAN number 06170188. And who's like this?
Yeah, so this one is kind of the same idea. It's a mobile home. It wasn't attached to a piece of property. The mobile was demolished, and it has been taken off the roll. So I should have said that in the first situation. We don't make these recommendations until we have confirmation from the BSC. So these don't exist. And with that $75, again, it wouldn't make sense to try to hire somebody to collect it. So at this point, without a way to get it, we get it off the roll.
Again, can I have a motion for write-off request for AAN number 06170188?
I'll make a motion to remove the $75.27 and $4.40 in interest on AAN number 06170188.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is a letter of support for the Westport Recreation Auxiliary multi-purpose court project. So I'd like to have a motion.
I move the council send a letter of support for the Western Recreation Auxiliaries multi-purpose court project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is correspondence, Minister Tilley's response to lack of adequate funding. Letter from Minister Lohr with the wind turbine setbacks.
So just to comment on that one.
Okay.
So I've been in touch with Municipality about it, so we will need to make changes to our MPSs and our LUVs. But Chris is getting more information, so this will hit PAC at some point.
Okay. And Aquaculture North America, April 2025. And letters to mayors and wardens on the code of conduct. Please get it done. You have until April 30th or April 1st? April 30th. So I've put my name through. I just haven't sat down and had the time to sit and to do it. I was today there was a conversation. What will happen? I said, well, technically they could say you're not going to do your duties until you're covered, or maybe they can fine you.
Well, you can start to that code of conduct. I didn't do it. At the end, it gives you a list of things for starting out what they will do. When you will be a breach of it if you don't finish it.
That's
So
right.
then they'll start saying, well, you can't maybe show up to a couple of meetings, you miss this, and then it goes on and on and on to, taking away your salary or something like that.
Yeah, see where I had got to the bottom.
Yeah, I was more disappointed with Minister Tilley's response. I understand it was only there temporary, but it was there for a reason. It was there to get things caught up on, but we are so far behind on RIM funding. Like I understand, yes, it wasn't there forever. Now I don't expect it to be there for 50 years, but to give it to us for 5 years and just skim the top of it, it's like they're so far behind. I mean, you got trees and branches coming out on a major highway. Like, doesn't that tell you something? Like, what's next? We gotta buy 4-wheelers and sell the cars to get through the roadways. Like,
We'll get little
skidoos.
We'll get little pedal pushers.
Yes, and skidoos. Yeah, we have no funding. Interesting.
Okay, and next is our council district activity report. So let's start with you, Matthew.
Oh, let's see. I attended Danny Harview's retirement party with the Digby Area Recreations Board and staff. I did a facility walkthrough at the Digby rink with Simcoe to better understand what needs to be repaired at the rink before next season's opening. Helped the food bank give out meals last Tuesday evening at the Barton Church. 26 families received meals from that. I met MP Christy Entremont with council to discuss issues in our communities and ask about funding opportunities from the federal government. And I've been getting lots of phone calls on road conditions, gravel roads, trying to help a lady with her Bell landline service not working in the area. And I've talked to many concerned constituents about the rink having shut down early this year.
Thank you. Joe?
Last meeting, I met with the Cisco Fire Chief regarding their support application for the Sustainable Community Challenge Fund, and it's for a solar field. Attended the Bear River Health Clinic open house, and actually brought back some brochures on that from there that I distributed and left out in the front lobby as well. I attended a meeting with Nova Scotia Power Commission itself, the Nova Scotia Community College, and it was about the extended outages with regards to Jordan Town and Acaciaville. There were actually 5 staff from Nova Scotia Power Commission present, along with about 10 community members or interested people, and there was a lot of open conversation and questions with explanations as to why things are happening where they are. The biggest issue is the number of outages and the fact that they're extended over, not just a 24-hour period, but in many cases over days. Anyway, Nova Scotia Power did agree to look at it. They pointed out that part of the issue with the outages is roads that it's happening on are not part of the big main grid. The other topic that came up actually was DEI and how Nova Scotia Power Commission was hiring and training the people providing the service. And they went through the training and screening, the opening training center in Sydney as well. But are very willing to look at mentoring and CO2 options that might be available in this area if there was a need or a want. And they've given some contacts to reach out to and suggested that they would see what could be done around that. One of the things actually that came out of it was they were suggesting that people who are at risk need to reach out and get on their customer critical care list, and their sense is that a lot of these people haven't because they didn't want people to know they might be at risk. But when there is an outage, the first thing they look at is the critical care list, and those people automatically get moved up to a priority list, and that would take care of some of those concerns for the people that are out in those areas and at risk. 80% of the homes in Acaciaville and Jordantown are owned by people over the ages of 65. And many of them are single, older people and have issues. The other thing that actually was interesting is they did point out that the usage in this area and other areas continues to grow exponentially, especially with electric cars and panels going. And that now, where most people consider 200 amp entrance, new places are going up to 400 and 600 amp entrances in order to accommodate the power usage.
Whoa.
And I did attend the Community Climate Capacity Summit in Dartmouth in March. It was my first meeting on anything climate related, so it was very informative and interesting. I did find out more about the Langford Land Trust in Weymouth that I really didn't know anything about. And some of the other projects that other communities are working on, such as bird towns and those sorts of things, and the advantages of having a specific climate change strategy or a mitigation plan when you're applying for funding. Makes you more successful. I served the Bear River Community Kitchen on behalf of the Cisco Group who prepared the meal for the week of March 11th. Attended the Seniors Day at the Bear River Health Clinic in March. And for me, that's a great opportunity to socialize with some of the residents in a capacity slightly different. Next meeting there actually is April 9th, and if anybody is interested, Wendy Balser is apparently presenting on grant availability and application for some of the senior programs. Met with Chris Donkamont, and he was here in the building, and continue to attend the weekly coffee times at Cisco Fire Hall and the monthly breakfasts at the River Fire Department. Cisco Fire Department is going to start doing their breakfasts in April, the third weekend in April. Beyond that, I continue to answer the calls and be as responsive as I can to the concerns as they're raised.
Thank you. George.
Let's see. The art bank, we purchased 4 pieces of art for the art bank. We're out here on display. I don't know if they're all there now. I've got some look. There's 2 of them. I don't know where anyway, we purchased 4 pieces of art. Had an informal meeting with Jill Balser regarding issues, how we're going on the house, road, and stuff like that. She's always working at this. At a senior that I helped bring Brian Digby, apply for his fuel grant, and the next week I'm going back to Digby and apply for his housing grant for repairs. Met with Chris Donkamont with the other councilors. And a couple of road calls. Not as many as I thought. The road was terrible. The full road. These grading doesn't take place till April or May. Except I was down in concession last night. Third road there, the back on the lakes. It must be 2 or 3 kilometers long. And it's been graded.
Yes, sir.
It's graded and nice. No potholes. I've never seen grading up there. Anyway, we'll wait and see what happens.
Thank you. Peter.
Yeah, so there was an industrial commission meeting there. So on that, I communicated with Bob Petrie from Nova, who's developing a project in the Tiverton East Area Passage there. So the idea was to gather some update on his project and bring up to council because Matt had brought a discussion on tidal projects. So I thought it had a good synergy there on both topics. So it's an ongoing issue that we want to to stay on top of. I think if we can develop this area on the unique competitive advantages we have here with heights, that's a win for us. So then we had our monthly healthcare on the island call. Pretty good call, useful as usual. We have had good coverage in the islands. So now the conversation is now branching out into healthcare in the Digby area a bit more broadly, which is, I think it's the next step, right, even for the people in the island. Though we have a good clinic there, some things the clinic doesn't do, you still have to go to the Digby. So I think we'll want to leverage that call to address the concerns of the local residents that depend on developing the service in Digby. I had a meeting with MLA Joe Balser. Very useful conversation. We discussed the latest updates on the natural resource exploration. We set a regular touch point to discuss the topics for provincial, where the province plays a role, right, in local politics here. And basically share information, share what are the expectations of the residents here in the area, and double it deeper into the recreation initiatives in the islands. That resulted then finally in the application to the letter here. So I've worked a little bit with there to get that letter out, and then thank you guys for the quick turnaround. I did really appreciate they were looking for this a little quick. It was kind of a bit of a rush to action there, but I think it's really important that we do this right when we find a need there and we see that we can make a difference if we act quickly. Let them allow them to do what they're trying to do. Then there was also a meeting with the Tiverton Village Commission, so I attended to their regular meeting. I'll be attending to those a little bit more often now. It's an interesting thing to get a sense of what they're trying to accomplish there and build a bridge here, see how we can support them, in what they're working to do there. Also attended to a potluck in Westport. Again, touched base with Jill there. Also discussed with a local resident an issue with houses that do not have septic systems. I think this has been an issue for a while. But I also coincidentally received an email from another resident report talking about the same thing. So it looks like there is some mobilization. There are some people interested in getting together and form some kind of group to advocate for funds and some kind of grant, something to install those septic tanks. I think I'm particularly sensitive to this because we discussed the ecological issues in the area with the salmon farms and all that, but then you have the houses throwing waste into the water straight, so it kind of weakens the argument of the local residents in terms of preserving the local environment, right? So it will be an interesting thing to see where this goes. And finally, then just a couple of miscellaneous calls. One resident concerned with a property lease issue. I gave them some directions there that redirected them here wherever wishing the municipality. But I think it's an issue that's not really in the scope of the municipality. But for them to reach out in case there's anything we can help them. And secondly, there was another resident who worried about the mining topic as well. She was concerned that there will be mining in the area, there will be mining uranium. I shared what I had. Right, we don't know a lot, but it's from what I've learned so far. This is still about 5 years away from us, from any significant developments. I think that helps ease the anxiety there. But the concern with the environment is there.
And it should be. And it should be.
It should be, yeah. It should be.
Thank you. For me, since our last council meeting, I attended the Bear River Gardens breakfast and helped out. I attended Danny Hardy's retirement. Tyler and I had a meeting with the Weymouth Commission, and I thought that went quite well. We haven't set up a meeting as of yet. We'll look at that. I also attended a Zoom meeting on climate topics for elected officials. It's interesting. It makes you stop and think sometimes. I also go to the Digby Care 25, where we give to one group 3 participators and it's all local funds that come in. We also I attended the accessibility advisory. No, I did not attend the accessibility advisory committee due to their personal commitment. But I did go to the Dessert Nova Scotia Summit, which is going on, what's happening with the ERP and everything. And then I was down to the Simple Month the other night, picking up items for different various clients, I guess, would be a better word to put and dropping stuff off. And I've had various calls happening on various concerns with residents, whether it's again about the roads or it's personal items or there's different things going on. And I just had got an email about am I allowed to ask questions at council? If I'm a spectator, and I said, oh, that's on the agenda, and it's according to how many people are here. So, you're constantly answering questions and hoping you're giving people the right information or advising them where they can help. I also had a meeting with Jill also, she was really good, and with our MP, Chris Dontamont, and I brought him up some concerns about the ferry that's being put into service on Westport that is only 7 passengers and the various safety concerns that were brought up to me. Also, I am having a meeting with Jill over the same concerns. She is now aware of them, of course, from the same group. So otherwise, if there's nothing, we will go into our into our in camera. I've lost my papers. I looked at the wrong ones here. So we have a personal and a contractual. So could I have someone move in camera for both of those 2 items?
A motion to move in camera.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded. Motion carried.